Hello there guys and welcome back to my channel for simply a new video on my channel. And of course, by the title, you can already tell what this video is about. But before getting into the video itself, I do quickly want to mention something that is pretty important to me because last night, sadly, very sadly, the three-time Formula One world champion, Niki Lauda, the Austrian, has sadly passed away. And as a massive Formula One and Ferrari fan myself, and obviously as an Austrian, that was just devastating news last night when I heard it, and it's kind of hit me a bit harder than I would have expected it to hit me, because Niki Lauda was more than just a legend or a hero, because there's a lot of legends in motorsport in everything really, but he was all of those things combined: an icon, an hero, a legend, and a huge inspiration. I mean, he pulled off the greatest ever sporting comeback ever. Like, I just said ever, but ever. Do you know what I mean? Like, people talk to me about Muhammad Ali or, bloody Barcelona when they turned around against PSG, or bloody Liverpool 3 weeks ago. No. Niki Lauda almost burned to death. He was set in fire for over 50 seconds, and then he was back racing 6 weeks later or whatever it was. And then he won another 2 Formula One World Championships in, the following years. And almost won it that season, but just because he was a bit smarter than another guy, he wasn't willing to risk his life. So that's why he didn't win it that year. So it's quite frankly ridiculous, and basically I just want to say rest in peace, Niki, and it's been devastating, and very sad news to start it off. None of you might care about this. I don't really know. I don't care. I'm a big Formula One fan, so I felt like I had to say this. Anyway, let's get into this video now, and like I say, you could tell by the title what this is about, and of course, a lot of news have come out of Italy recently over these past few days, saying that Juventus, who have obviously parted ways with Massimiliano Allegri, their now former manager, wants Maurizio Sarri to be, well, basically his replacement, I guess. That's what Juventus apparently want. There's also reports that they want Pochettino, there's reports that they want Simeone or even Jose Mourinho. But there is reports that they want Maurizio Sarri, and also that Chelsea are kind of willing to sack Sarri anyway, and then it kind of just fits nicely, and then we're just going to replace Maurizio Sarri with Frank Lampard. Now, other reports from England are now more like saying, okay, we won't stand in Maurizio Sarri's way if Juve or anyone else come to get him, as long as they pay basically a £5 million compensation fee that we would have to pay Sarri where we just sack him, I guess, something like that. But then still would probably replace him with Frank Lampard. Now, I'm not quite sure how the Italian media would know better than the English media who we'd be replacing anybody with, because the English media are still saying there's no decision made just yet, that any decision will be made after Europa League final next week. But the Italians basically are saying it's already said that we're going to, sack Sarri and then replace him with Frank Lampard. Not quite sure how they would know that. I do believe that Juventus might very well be interested in Sarri. I do very much so believe that. But I do think that because of that interest, the Italian media are kind of being pointed in that way. I think that's where we're kind of coming from here. That they're not basically fabricating things, but basically they might possibly be told things, and then they will report on those things, and they might not be the full truth. But it's kind of trying to get Chelsea to get rid of Sarri, or Sarri to get Sarri to Juventus anyway, something like that anyway. Now, do I agree with that whole thing? I'm not 100% sure. Of course, the fact that Frank Lampard managed to get to the playoff final with Derby County in a season where Derby County never expected to make the playoffs, let alone make the playoff final, especially against Leeds, who, well, they were expected to, well, at least go straight through to the Premier League and not, have to go through the playoffs after being, clearly topped by Christmas or whatever it was. So, he did a great job there in that sense. I mean, not the most unbelievable job, but they didn't expect to do as well as they did. He had a really tough job there, Frank Lampard, and that, of course, beating Bielsa obviously with the whole Spygate situation as well. That just made put him on a bigger pedestal again, and Chelsea, seemingly, it was like, all right, Lampard's good, let's get him in now. And it is very frustrating to me. Of course, I spoke about it in the last video, saying how the hate from the fans is getting Maurizio Sarri sacked, basically, because that was the report at the time, that the reason why Roman Abramovich might be considering getting rid of Maurizio Sarri is the divide within the fan base. Now, obviously, it's reportedly to do with other things. Who knows? But I still don't think it's right. I still don't think it would be a good move either. Now, if we were to sack him, it's not in my control, and I'm already unhappy with that happening. But if we were to sack him, there is not many that I'd be more happy with than with us appointing Frank Lampard. Do I think it would go well straight away? No, I do not. But I don't think that we would get any top manager. I don't think we would get someone like Allegri. No, that I want Allegri because it just would destroy everything we did last year. You know, getting rid of Sarri would destroy everything we did last year anyway. In my opinion, anyway. Like, we should give it at least 2 years for any to change. You know, just progressing with our process, I guess. But you know, it just wouldn't make much sense. And like I say, if it's not Frank Lampard, who do we get in instead? And anyone else wouldn't really make any more sense. So if we are to get rid of Sarri, okay, you get Lampard. How well it will go, I have absolutely no idea. But just don't get rid of Sarri. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, we fought for him for months last summer. For months. And then we finally get him. We give him Jorginho. Don't really give him anyone else because he didn't really fancy Kovacic that much. We gave him the goalkeeper, but he would have been okay with Courtois. But Courtois forced his own way out of the club. So, yes, we bought the, you know, most expensive goalkeeper in the world. But who else could we have tried to sign, really? I mean, we tried to go for Alisson, but Liverpool outbid us. And then he preferred to go to Liverpool, understandably so. Look at them now. They're in the Champions League final. We are not. So, you know, that is that. And then obviously in January he got Higuain. But I know after a year you're going to get rid of him? What was the whole point then? Why were you fighting for him? And then he achieved all of the targets he was set, all of the targets he was given. He achieved all of those. He finished within the top 4. He even made the Europa League final when his apparent achievement target was to at least make the semi-finals. And he also made the final of the League Cup. You know, yes, we lost that, but we lost on penalties, very unfortunately, against, well, without doubt, the best team in the country, possibly the best team in Europe that just weren't able to put it on the pitch to, you know, make it count in Europe, I guess, when they obviously were knocked out by Spurs. But to get rid of him now just wouldn't make any sense. It just would just be completely pointless. And, you know, I see a lot of people saying, but because for me, Frank Lampard needs a little bit more experience. And I see people saying, oh, you know, Guardiola didn't have more experience, and even Zidane didn't have that much more experience. You know, Guardiola was in the Barcelona second team for 2 years. I'm not 100% sure. I will admit I didn't do perfect research on this now because I'm just basically talking off my head because this situation has just been frustrating me a lot over the last few days. The amount of tweets I've received and, you know, the amount of hate that Sarri is still getting, and now people just think Lampard is all of a sudden this lord and saviour, basically. You know, it is a bit of a tricky situation. But anyway, you know, I don't believe that it's the right time for Frank Lampard yet. You know, I just don't believe that. Like I say, people are saying he has just the same amount of experience as, you know, Guardiola and Zidane did. Fair enough, maybe so. But they did have better squads. Yes, Guardiola did change things around quite drastically. Got rid of, you know, I think Deco for Iniesta. Got rid of Yaya Touré for Busquets. Got rid of R.I.P pretty quickly, if I'm not mistaken. Or did he? I think so. Yes, so, you know, he changed things around quite drastically. And yes, Frank Lampard could be doing that at Chelsea. But I don't think right now is the time. Yes, we have a huge army. Yes, we have a great, you know, academy. But is it the right time when you're losing Eden Hazard, when you can't replace him because of a transfer ban? And I'm going to get into the transfer ban in you know, in a couple of minutes. Is that the right time to bring in a manager like Frank Lampard, who, well, has done a good job, a very good job with Derby County, might, you know, actually get them to the Premier League if they beat Villa in the playoff final, and get him in and possibly ruin his legacy, possibly ruin, you know, imagine all the stuff that we have now with the Sarri out, with the Fox Sarri ball and all of that stuff. Imagine that for Lampard. Of course, it would take a lot longer because he is the legend of the club. But at some point, if things go a lot worse than they did on Sarri, and they might well do, because Frank Lampard doesn't have experience. He doesn't have experience at all. Like, people tell me, oh, we don't want Sarri because he hasn't won anything. Well, I mean, at least he got teams promoted, and, you know, he got teams close to winning things. Frank Lampard has had one season anywhere. He's not even managed a youth team for a year. You know, he did his coaching badges and went straight to Derby County. He's not done anything really. Like, Sarri has been coaching for decades, even while being a banker. You know, he just did it on the side. Then he always been a football manager, just did it on the side. He was an amateur at it, and then he got, you know, just improved, and better and better clubs signed him until Chelsea signed him. Now we're in this situation, so I personally just don't agree with it. But that doesn't mean Frank Lampard couldn't work out really well. You know, it could mean that Mason Mount plays a lot, that Reece James, possibly even Jada Silva, Tomori, Kazuma, of course, you know, Loftus-Cheek when he's back from his injury. Same for Callum Hudson-Odoi when he's back from his injury. Tammy Abraham. All of those players could play, and all of those players could be a revelation and could be the new spine that we're so missing so badly and lacking so badly. They could be. But it could backfire completely and we could finish 7th, 8th, 9th. And then what? And then what? Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it's a good idea. As harsh as that may sound against Sarri now, to me, with the situation we're in now, we have to let Sarri see out this transfer ban and this bad period. You know, have him stabilise things because that's what he's done this year. You know, we weren't even that great. Let's be honest, we weren't that great. We can only improve under him next season, in my opinion. We still finished 3rd. We still made the League Cup final. Yes, we lost that, but we still made the final. And, you know, other teams haven't made the final. We beat Liverpool and Spurs along the way to stop them from making the final. We made it instead. And we're in the Europa League final. Yes, we might lose that. We might win that. Who knows at this point? You know, it's only in a week's time. We don't know yet. But that is a good season. It's not a great season. It's not a very good season. But it is a good season. And that's what Maurizio Sarri has done. So let him steady that ship. Let's see what happens without Hazard. Let's see what happens if we can't sign anyone. Let's see what happens with Pulisic. Let's see what happens with the loanies that might return, whether that is Zuma, Mason Mount, Jada Silva, Ola Aina possibly, Reece James, of course. You know, let's see what happens then. And if that doesn't go well, or if that is just steadying the ship again, and then Frank Lampard, whether he gets promoted or not, I don't think he's not doing a good enough job. I don't think he's not doing a good enough job if they don't get promoted. You know, I think it would probably actually be a bit better for him to stay in the Championship, actually, because I think with the budget that Derby have, if they go up, they'd be going straight back down. A bit like Cardiff this season. Not like Fulham, who spent 100 million and then went back down, or Huddersfield or whatever. Like, a bit like Cardiff, I guess. I don't think it would go particularly well. Not because Frank Lampard isn't a good manager, but simply because I don't think they'd have the budget to survive in the Premier League. Let's not forget that a lot of, you know, Derby County's best players this season have been loanies from across, you know, England, I guess. You know, they had players from Liverpool, like Harry Wilson, I think is from Liverpool. Obviously, Mason Mount, Fikayo Tomori. And, you know, I'm just not sure how well that will go. So possibly another season in the Championship would actually be a bit better for Frank Lampard. But 2 or 3 years with Sarri now, and then once we've done that, Lampard is getting his experience, then we can get him in. I think that would be great. That would be really, really good. But let's just let Sarri see out the bad period. Don't bring Frank Lampard in now. That just wouldn't make any sense to me. And this is why I'm, you know, because of the bad periods I'm talking about, because this is why I'm getting into the second, basically, topic of this video. Again, probably going to be way too long of a video because that's what I do. That's kind of what I'm getting known for on here, I guess. Again, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. But yeah, it is reported that Chelsea haven't actually appealed to the CAS, to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, to get our ban frozen over the summer, let alone to even, you know, properly appeal the ban by the FIFA. We haven't done any of the sort because apparently lawyers, along with the board and the club, are thinking that taking the ban right now for this window and the next window and then signing players probably next summer in summer of 2020 might be a better option. And I can see why they're saying that. I can completely see why they are saying that. By the time we hear back from them, there has been reports that we might not hear back from the CAS if we do appeal it until late July. Other reports have said, you know, we could hear from it soon, but, you know, those reports also suggested that we had appealed it against it, and actually we haven't. So that is a bit weird. But if we hear back in late July, the Premier League transfer window closes on August 8th. So then we're basically wasting next summer's transfer window to have 3 or 2 weeks of signing players this summer. Because, you know, having at least a few weeks this summer would mean that the transfer ban is basically pushed on. So for next January of 2020, and then summer of 2020. But if we don't, you know, freeze it this summer, we have this summer banned and then the January ban, but can sign players again next summer. So then we'd have a full summer, not like a few weeks now. And let's think about it logically. Other clubs would know that we are really, really desperate to sign anybody. They would completely exploit us. You know, and that would be Alexander's situation times 10. You know, people are like, you know, say, you know, Luka Jovic seems to be going to Real Madrid for around 60 million euros, which to me is a bargain. No idea how that's happening. Or even Matthias de Ligt is going to Barcelona for reportedly 65 million euros again. A bargain. Not sure how that's happening. If we try to sign those players, especially, you know, Luka Jovic, they wouldn't give him to us for less than 80 million, in my opinion, because they know we'd have to buy him. Because, you know, if we're focusing on signing him, we're not signing another striker. And if we want the striker, well, then we have to do something. Everyone would exploit us, and understandably so. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they try to get more money out of it? And then we're in that situation of, well, just because we are in this bad situation, just because we put ourselves in that situation by, you know, breaking the rules, I guess, will we be willing to overpay? Will we be willing to do that just to fix our squad, just to fix our problems? I very much doubt it. And I think that in the end, we will have that budget that we have, that we think we might get someone like Jovic for, say 60 million, but then we won't get Jovic for it. And then we will sign someone way worse that's actually worth, I don't know, 30 million. And because that club again is going to try to exploit us, we'll sign that guy for, I don't know, 50 million. A transfer like that is what I could imagine, way more than signing huge players. I just can't imagine us having such a short window, because no players are going to wait for us to know whether we can sign players. No player is going to wait on maybe they'll get their ban frozen and I'm going to decline other offers for now and then maybe sign with Chelsea if they are allowed to sign me. No one's going to do that. So in a sense, they're shooting yourself in the foot. And even though, yes, I do understand that if we lose Eden Hazard, we are in huge trouble. But yeah, of course, we don't know what's going to happen with that Hazard in these situations if we can't sign anymore. But let's be honest now. We will not be able to sign anyone anywhere near the ability of Eden Hazard anyway. We don't have the pulling power, even though we're in the Champions League. In my opinion, we don't have the pulling power right now, especially with the absolute mess of a state that this club is in with, players-wise, Hazard leaving. And Hazard was one of our pulling powers in getting players in. Hazard was one of those people. And now he's gone. And then, yes, we have Champions League football and we are in London. But we don't know who the manager is going to be. No player really knows. No player knows where we're going to go next. This club has been so up and down recently. Champions, 10th. Champions, 5th. 3rd. And Europa League final. Who knows what's going to happen next season? No player has absolutely any idea. So I actually think that it would be quite a wise and smart decision to just wait it out, just see it out. I did expect us to get top 4 actually, but at some point when the transfer ban was like looming and was the threat of it was getting bigger and bigger, and we knew that we possibly weren't gonna be allowed to sign players even this summer, I was like, I'm not gonna be in the Champions League this summer anyway, and then just see it out, be not in the Champions League for another season, and then we can go from there. Now we are in the Champions League, so that puts me in a bit of a pickle. Maybe we can sign players more now than we would next summer when we possibly won't be in it without signings. So yes, but we only have a few weeks. Chelsea Football Club, how long we usually take to sign players. We're not going to get it done in 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, thanks Premier League for cutting the transfer window short rather than to the 31st of August. It's like the 8th or whatever. So yeah, that is a problem. But I actually think it might be quite a smart decision. Just use the loanies, see what we can do with those. We always wanted to see them anyway. Now we can just force to see them, preferably under Maurizio Sarri. See what we can do with them with a full preseason. That I would be very interested. Yes, if we come 6th, so be it. If we come 7th, so be it. And what? And what? I don't think Frank Lampard will be doing that much better. So I think that would make way more sense. Just that Sarri is being scrutinised already anyway. So we might as well, I don't know, sacrifice him, I guess, rather than sacrificing Frank Lampard, because that I do not want to see. That I do not want to see in the slightest. So do that. If it goes well, great. If he surprises us and we do really well next season, even without signing anyone, perfect. I don't see it happening, but there is always that chance. And then we just go from there and can sign huge players next summer when we're not stressed for time, when other teams won't exploit us for money because they know we're desperate. When we can just build again, possibly with Frank Lampard in charge, possibly still with Maurizio Sarri in charge. Who knows? But we can go again and move forward with a plan. Hopefully with the director of football by then, possibly with a few other faces within the board, maybe with a new owner. Who knows? I doubt it. I'm not sure whether I want that to happen. I'm never sure. I'm never 100% sure. Not really. But obviously financially, if someone was to pump more money into it, that would help us to compete with Man City, for example. But possibly, you never know. There could be a new owner by the time we reach summer 2020. So who knows? And by the way, this is me a couple of minutes after I recorded the long bit, basically adding that because I forgot it. Olivier Giroud did today extend his contract at Chelsea by another season. Basically, the club, used their option that they had as part of Giroud's initial contract, that we could extend his, stay by 12 months once his contract expired. And basically we took that option and we extended his stay at Chelsea by 12 months. He agreed to it. Of course, can't exactly force him, I guess. But that's what happened. He extended his, his stay at Chelsea by another year. And that, of course, does, if anything, it does suggest that we are accepting a transfer ban. It's not a guarantee for anything, but it does for sure suggest it. I mean, of course, we could, keep Olivier Giroud as a backup striker, even if we decide to try to get the transfer ban frozen and try to sign a huge striker and have, Giroud as his backup, but not Higuain instead. Whether we will keep Higuain or not, we'll just have to wait and see. We do have that option, but we've not done anything so far. But yeah, this is just basically an inclusion in what I said earlier. Just go back to Laos a few minutes ago. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. This video is probably really long, already just under 20 minutes. So I'm gonna leave it here. Like I say, I mentioned a lot of things. I'm not 100% sure what I believe. You know, that Sarri will be sacked. I'm not 100% sure whether that if he is sacked, we'll get Frank Lampard in. Actually, if Sarri is sacked, I do believe that Frank Lampard will be the one to replace him. I'm just not sure whether we will sack Sarri. Will Juve try to buy him out of the contract at Chelsea, and then we'll just get Frank Lampard that way? Possibly. And fair play to Sarri for that. I mean, he's been scrutinised so much. I've never seen the fan base just portray so much hate on one manager that's done well. Like, you can't compare this to Villas-Boas that people wanted out. But yeah, I hope Sarri stays. I hope that if we do sack him, it is Frank Lampard that replaces him, simply because I don't want anyone else, I guess. I certainly don't want Massimiliano Allegri. But yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Again, sorry that it's another really long video. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Do drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. And leave me all of your thoughts on the, that you have on everything that I've mentioned down below. Just let me know what you think, really, down in the comment section below, like I said. And again, I'm not 100% sure when I'll next be able to make a video. But yeah, I really appreciate the support. Like I say, subscribe to the channel, and up the Chelsea is upwards and onwards, no matter what happens, no matter who the manager is. And I'll see you when I see you.